What's going on? What's up, Doug Nation? This your man C Dougie coming to you with another video. Yes, the Kansas City Chiefs are the reigning Super Bowl champions, but now it's time to get into that offseason. We're going to talk about these free agents that Carolina can come in and bring before the draft. I know everybody's talking about that top quarterback in the draft, but let's talk about a couple positions that we can address in free agency before the draft. As always, please hit that subscribe button if you have not. Also, hit the like button, hit the share button. You know I love the love that you guys have been showing the channel. Without you, we wouldn't have the channel here, man. Yeah, my jersey's been coming in. Number one, I got the JC Horn jersey that we wearing today when we bringing you that content. But let's go ahead and jump into it. With free agency about to be opening within less than 4 to 5 weeks, when a new league year hits, who can Carolina be looking to fill these holes that we have on this offense and defense? Are we going to bring in familiar faces from coaches that we brought on this staff? Are there going to be people that we're going to bring outside that have not been in the system with our offensive defensive coordinator? No, we have not signed one as well, but we do have our head coach that is an offensive-minded coach that has plenty of players that he's played with. But let's go ahead and jump into it, man. We're going to jump into that tight end room first. Yeah, we had Tommy Tremble. Yeah, we got Ian Thomas, but I really feel like, we need to bring some new blood in that room, man. When you look at it, it's 2 tight ends that will hit the market that either one would definitely bring production to our team. The first one is Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki had 32 receptions, 362 yards, and 5 touchdowns. No, he was not utilized whenever he was in Miami down there with that offense. But if you know the history of Frank Reich, he loves a tight end, athletic tight end. You're not just going to be blocking. You're going to be pass catching as well. I can see our tight end having 70 to 80 catches in this new offense. Also, you have Daniel Schultz out here out of Dallas with 57 receptions, 577 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He was really a protective blanket for Dak Prescott, even though Dak had, the CeeDee Lambs, you had Zeke, you had Pollard. He really relied on Dalton Schultz more whenever, pressure was coming, check downs, also in the red zone. So with that tight end room, don't be surprised if we sit here and bring new talent and new blood into that room. Second, there's 2 wide receivers that we possibly could be looking at. One we were possibly looking at during the trade deadline, and one has a connect with our new coach. We're going to go into it. Paris Campbell, 63 receptions, 623 yards, 3 touchdowns. I know that touchdown number is very low, but let's look at the yardage. He's very reliable around the ball, and I feel like the quarterbacks that were out of Indianapolis, when you had Matt Ryan, he really looked for him, regardless if it was a touchdowns. Yeah, you got 3, but who wouldn't want a receiver that can be a third receiver on his team with 63 receptions and 623 yards? I feel like Paris Campbell is a free agent, and I do think if we give him the right number, he will be in this wide receiver room. Next, you have Corey Davis out of New York, the New York Jets. 32 receptions, 536 yards, 2 touchdowns. He wasn't really utilized correctly whenever you look at it with that offense as well. Yeah, you had Zach Wilson. He was in the doghouse. He asked for a trade. They were looking to trade him during the trade deadline. So I feel like he could definitely be a quality, 1 through 4 wide receiver to come get some yards and help our quarterback as well. Before we jump into the next one, like I said, that's 2 positions that we definitely need to upgrade. Tight end room is dead. Wide receiver room, we see what DJ Moore is able to bring. We were able to see flashes at Terrace Marshall. Does Terrace Marshall really have it to be the number 2? Or are we going to pick a wide receiver in the draft? But there's definitely people out here in free agency that we'll be able to, talk to, look at to see if they're fit for this offense before the draft. We're going to go into the running backs. One running back I'm really hoping we look at if we do not re-sign Deontay Foreman is Jamal Williams. The man had 262 carries for 1,066 yards and led the league with 17 touchdowns. Also, his running backs coach is now on our offensive staff. So if Deontay Foreman is asking for too much, don't be surprised if Deuce comes in and said, hey, Frank Reich, I know what this man brings. This man is definitely a team player. He's a hard runner. Let's see what he brings to the table. I already know we're going to be a running team. Also, With that, you definitely going to need to have a veteran in that room if we're not able to re-sign Deontay Foreman. Also, you have Kareem Hunt, who's another physical runner. He had 123 attempts, ran for 468, and had 3 touchdowns. He split the backfield with Nick Chubb, who was one of the top 5 running backs this past year. Running back position is also there. Yeah, you had Chuba Hubbard and Blackshear, but also you're going to need to add to that room as well. This team, it's time for new blood from top to bottom, regardless if you've been here or not. Frank Reich is not coming in here to go for a mediocre season, not make the playoffs. The division is ours, so we need to upgrade those skill positions on the offensive side if we want to be a potent offense. We don't have to be, the Kansas City or whatever. We just need to have a decent top 15 offense to even complement our defense. Talking about defense, let's jump on that defensive side. You got a DN/D tackle, DeMonte Jones, that played underneath Eazy-E Evero. He had 47 tackles, 6.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. This man has just came into his own with a limited role. Yes, he started here and there, but he was not a full-time starter. So with those 6.5 sacks, going along with if he's able to join his defensive line with Derrick Brown and Brian Burns, I feel like that's definitely a key for us where we need more DN and D lineman help with transferring to that 3-4 defense. Let's go with 2 linebackers that have previous connects with this coaching staff. Alex Singleton, 163 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 3 PDUs. With Shaq Thompson having such a high cap hit, I will not be surprised if we trade him or release him. Only linebackers we're going to have on this roster is going to be Frankie Louver and Brandon Smith. Littleton and Wilson are going to be gone as well. So we're going to have to sign some type of linebacker veteran. Why not bring 2? One from Denver that played underneath the new defensive coordinator, and one that played along with our head coach up in Indianapolis. That young man is named Bobby Okora, had 151 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 5 PDUs. Like I said, both of those players had they're around the ball. That's a lot of tackles as well. And does that mean that they were the focal point of their defense? No, they just have a nose for the football. And with this 3-4, you're definitely going to need linebackers that have a nose for the football. Let's keep talking about that D-line. Here's another DN that we can possibly sign that came from the Indianapolis Colts. Yannick Ngagwa, 29 tackles, 9.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. We just had Brian Burns have, if I'm not mistaken, 12.5 sacks. Imagine if he was able to sit there and have a person on the opposite end of him with 9.5 sacks. That's perfect. And the man ended the season on the IR, meaning that he was not able to finish the full season. So if he had a full season, this man would probably have double-digit sacks. Like I said, there's plenty of options out here. We got 2 bonus ones. Shout out to the homegrown talent, Javon Hargraves. Had 60 tackles, 11 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, and 2 PDUs. That's meat as a D tackle. Yes, he did play along that Eagles defensive line that each starter had double-digit sacks, but that's the type of help that we need to give Derrick Brown in that middle to go along on that edge with Brian Burns going into outside linebacker in that 3-4, having his hand in the dirt and also standing up. The D-line is definitely going to be bulky, and we're going to need to add bodies. Because with that 3-4, it's going to be a revolving door. If you can't go in, we need a substitute that can come in and produce. Also, when you have injuries, you need people like Javon Hargraves that can help. Yes, he's older, but he's a veteran, and he also brings experience, championship experience, regardless of the Eagles losing the Super Bowl. Last but not least, you got Darian Payne. This is one that I really hope as a wild card that we definitely get. He has 64 tackles, 11.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 5 PDUs. Another bit nasty up in the middle that can help Derrick Brown where he's getting double teamed. You can't double team 2 at the same time. I know you're saying CW, you're saying double. Regardless of us having a 3-4 defense, you need those bit nasties up at the office, up in that D line, helping those linebackers getting pressure where they can run through the gaps. Like I said, there's just a couple of names that we can utilize on this team going forward in free agency. Hopefully, when we can come back, we'll be like, These names are getting checked off. I definitely know we're going to have to restructure some contracts to get the money to come and be aggressive in free agency. But if we address some of these holes that we have before we go into the draft, we can definitely trade up for our quarterback. But let's go ahead and do the homework and go ahead and settle some of these holes and patch them up in free agency where we're not really relying on a lot of rookies in the draft to come in and start day one. If they do, they do. But I definitely feel like we can get some help in free agency. Again, it's your man C. Dougie. If you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Like and share as well. As always, you know I love the support. I appreciate you guys. One love. We out. That's it.